Uh-huh. Oh, wow, okay. Alright, we're gonna do another speed run. Are you ready? We're gonna make Rebecca live this time. We're gonna head for the door. Right? If there's one... Oh, if there's one, it is out of this room, out of this place, as far away as anyone can get from her. I can think about the rest of what I can do after I'm outside, when there are other people I can ask for help. When she's not chasing after me like this. There's no hesitation in my steps as I race for the restricted section's door and head downstairs and barrel straight for the library's exit. Towards safety, in a desperate bid for my life, library rules be damned. Branching tree. Yeah, I want to see if I got game over. I think there's a game over somewhere. Oh my god, why is this so long? Oh, here it is. Oh, okay, so this, I did fail. I did get the game over. Okay, so I gotta make sure to not fail this time. I can, what's that? Oh, no, so the, branching tree. So, the white stuff I've already done. But when it's grayed out like this, I haven't done it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, so it looks like head upstairs where I die. It looks like there's something else I have to do. Yeah, okay. And then there's this one. I don't know what this is. Maybe we'll get this one when we go the other way. Okay. I can no longer hear her behind me, and I'm not taking any chances. A breath almost escapes me as I near the door. A little more. When out of nowhere, a library cart careens from a blind corner and slams into my side. My back hits the floor with a hard thud, the impact completely knocking the breath out of me. The copper tang of blood gradually spreads over my tongue as I fight to get my bearings back. I force myself to move, even with the excruciating pain coursing through my limbs, and the X is almost there if only I can... But there's no moment's respite. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, I hate this. The next thing I know, there's a heavy weight atop me, and cold digits around my neck, tied like a vice, pressing, closing in, leaving me gasping for air. Through my blurred vision, I can only make out the hateful gleam, the spite in her eyes, as she looms over my body, over my throat grows tighter. Desperation kicks in. My nails dig into her wrists as I struggle against her firm grip, trying to pry her fingers away.
Let go! Let me go!
Oh shit, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, I thought I was doing that. Too strong, her hold on me is too strong. My lungs begin to ache, burning with the lack of air, the pain pouring through with every second I writhe under her pressure, her punishing grip.
Somebody help me.
Darkness starts to fill the edges of my vision, and soon the world fades. Yes, of course I'll continue. Keep the slider by green by moving the mouse. I thought I was doing that. Yeah, I thought I was doing that. I don't understand. I thought I was doing that. Oh, I have to make clicking. That's my problem. I wasn't clicking. I was just supposed to move the mouse. I was also supposed to be clicking. I don't think twice. My limbs are moving on their own before what I did could fully register in my brain and my lungs could recover. Behind me, she lets out a cry, sharp and loud and thunderous against the empty walls of the library. But the fear her wails bring compares nothing to the relief washing over me when I finally make it out. My knees buckle as soon as my feet hits the pavement, its surface cold and hard against my skin. I've only been in there for a few hours, about 1 or 2 probably. I don't know anymore. It feels like an eternity all the same. My breathing hasn't slowed down yet, and I don't expect it to after going through that. I probably look the most undignified creature on a Sunday morning. Right now, out of breath, disheveled, slumped here with a bloody lip and all. But at present, I simply can't bring myself to care. Even with a few passersby start giving me strange looks. Stare at me all you want, I don't give a shit. I'm alive. I'm safe. This isn't the end, but I'm safe. And inside my bag is something that could get us out of this mess. Nothing definite yet. I don't want to get my hopes up, but it's still something. If Isabella is here, I'm sure she'll feel the same. She'll even be the first one who'll put her faith on it. Wherever this will lead us to is a victory on its own. Now all that's left is to find the others. The rest of us trapped in this bloody nightmare. Right on cue, as if to answer my previous thought, my mobile phone lets out a beep. I pick it up, simply hoping it'll be one of them. Only it's a voicemail that greets me. From Ashton. There's a pang of disappointment, of course, but it brings out some reassurance that nothing's happened to at least one of them.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
He ends it right there. The message less than a minute long. Curt and gives nothing away. I let it ease my worries regardless and do as he asks. Because this, too, is another triumph for us. One less thing to worry about. Alright, now we're just gonna hit the fast forward button through Ashton's route. Whee!
I wonder, will it be different if, like, say...
Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna have to make two different choices. We're gonna have to kill Ash again.
Or have him survive.
Yeah, and then we're also gonna have him survive because there's two different endings we'll get. Oh right. I think it's this one. Insist. Oh, that's right. I can make my relationship with her shitty. So let's save here. Insist it's confidential. What's that? I think insisting it's confidential is gives us plus points, I think.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Fast forward. Whee! Oh shit! I'm gonna have to do the stupid elevator thing again! Oh, god damn it. Oh! Yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing that again. I already did it once. I don't need to do it again. Thank you, Mayumi, for catching that, because I was like, shit, I don't want to have to do this again! Oh my god. We fast forward. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, but this time we're not going to have a freak out about we're not going to have a jumper because she lives. I don't actually know what rushing him will do. So let's save here. We'll go with the safe option for now, and we'll check what rushing.
He's innocent.
We.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe.
Oh, hooray! It's different. Okay.
Can't beat me. For trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool
Though
dude.
before
Pretty
I
fine
can
for
make
an
it back to
Asian
my
guy.
car, my phone rings.
Sup, I'm
A quick
Ash
glance
from
at the
Deluxe
caller ID
City.
shows Rebecca's
Baggers,
name
watch
on the
out.
screen.
Kid.
Without wasting any time, I answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Well, Zach's in a bit of a tight spot right now.
Define tight spot in this context, Ash.
I'll tell you about it later. There's nothing we can do about it now. Where are you, by the way?
Home, I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, that thing Isabella told us about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'll meet you there. This is... related to that.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But, alright. And please, hurry.
Gotcha. Give me a few minutes.
She mumbles a goodbye and then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for. Yet that call left something strained in the air. Thankfully, I don't have to linger in it for too long. The drive back to Salem Mall only takes a matter of minutes. I find her pacing in front of Isabella's room, hands clasped tightly in front of her as she treads the small space offered by the hallway. The second she looks up, apologies spill out of her mouth first.
I'm sorry, Ash. I was in a hurry.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole and alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some.
Anyway, let's head inside. We shouldn't be talking about this out here. You have a copy of her key, right?
We're borrowing Isabella's flat? What is this really about?
She has some files in there, also related.
She merely nods in understanding.
I hope you know what you're doing.
Ah, crap, I forgot to read that. However, the minute she moves to fish out the key, she winces. A small reaction, but sets a precedence for a careful observation nonetheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled appearance than usual. Hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. Back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm, when she's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has once she leads me into the room. It all sprouts a hat full of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. But she never gives me the chance to bring it up. The second we're seated in the tiny living room, she gets straight to the point and asks about Zach. Typical Rebecca.
All right, no more suspense. What happened to Zachary? And I don't want you to mince words. Tell everything as it is.
He's been detained. The police arrested him this morning.
Arrested? Why?
She raises of her eyebrow in question, and I quickly fill her in on what happened. From the moment I've gotten the news down to the very person at the root of this. She falters the second I drop Scumbag's name, disbelief all over her features.
Are you sure it's him? This must be a mistake.
Yup, quite sure it's the bastard we saw at the precinct, in all his pompous glory.
What was Zachary even doing in the mansion? Murder? Of Hannah? Are you kidding me? I know Zachary can look a bit intimidating at first glance, but he's not the kind of person who will do those things.
That's exactly what I told the geezers at the precinct, but they won't listen. Apparently they caught him in the act. Of course they won't. They're up against Wright's smug face, for fuck's sake. He's the one who has the money.
I'll talk to him.
Immediately, every thought in my head stops and I stare at her. She can't be serious.
You want to talk to Smugface, to Scumbag?
Yes, I'm sure he'll see reason.
She wastes no time. Ignoring her limp, she gathers her things and stands up, ready to leave. I grab for her arm before she can walk past, careful to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the question, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. But that possible injury is the least of my problems right now, not when she's likely playing a march to Ermengarde Mansion just to talk to the guy. Alright, we got, do you really think he'll listen, and don't be rash. Let's go with... Oh, that one was from a long time ago. Let's go with that one. Let's see, do you really think he'll listen? I'm gonna go with, nah, he ain't gonna listen. What do you think? Well, I saved, so. Right? Do you really think he'll listen, or don't be rash? Alright, let's try, do you really think he'll listen?
Do you really think he'll listen to reason?
Oh, minus. Alright, let's go back and do that again. Let's see what don't be rash says.
Becca, this thing with Zach has already gone down the legal territory.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so don't be rash was the right choice.
Smugface already filed the case this morning.
Isn't that another reason to talk to him?
It'll be difficult, especially when he's so eager to get to the precinct this morning. Unless we find evidence that'll prove Zach's innocence, there's nothing we can do at the moment. Chief will kick me out of my own precinct if I keep insisting.
Becca does give a moment of thought. She still appears like she wants to run headfirst to Anselm, though. But after a minute of silence, thankfully she concedes.
All right, but promise me you'll get Zachary out of that place.
I will. There's no way in hell I'm leaving him in there. Besides, even if you could reason with Smugface.
Stop calling him like that. And you wonder why he won't listen.
Even if you could reason with Smugface, you're not going anywhere with that limp.
As expected, she tries to hide it when she squirms from my grasp. It's with enough force she almost stumbles back if the couch has not caught her fall. Even then, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Little accident. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly to its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a swift glance at me. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then, after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve. Raises it just enough for me to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
That's going to take a while to heal.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Is it the woman you mentioned? The one you said was sitting in the back of your car?
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Ash, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible... terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
I was gonna say she did hurl a book at her. And it worked.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits us. Dead. How many more close calls do we have to go through? How many deaths do we have to witness? How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last this long, losing people important to them one by one right in front of them. I've already come close to losing Isabella. Although Zach's not in a better situation, he's alive. I'm not losing him and Rebecca too. I hate to break it to you, sir, but Zach's gonna die soon.
Let's leave these issues for now. There are some things, a lot of things, you need to know.
Fine then. But if this is going to be long, let me just get something for the sprues.
That marks the end of it. At least for the time being. And as soon as Rebecca returns, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy, considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and really dismissed has been laid out for close scrutiny. My own encounters with the woman, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears. The dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be logic. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least, that's what I would like to believe. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of the late afternoon, and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I'd intended. Uh-oh. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and we simply fall silent, along with a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
If you aren't getting anywhere, maybe you should move on to some other stuff first. Leave it for now.
Hey, at least we're not doing this alone like last time.
But what are we even supposed to be looking at here?
A pattern, something that might hint a way out of this. The guys from BRC have probably also read that dumb paper. They've been working on the mansion before the open house, but Isabella found it during.
Maybe there's something more to this.
What do you mean?
Becca makes a vague gesture at the paper she's brought, then crosses her arm and leans back on her seat to glare at it. The way she's staring at it, you'll think she wants to set the entire stack on fire.
Apparently, there was some stuff that people haven't been telling us.
You mean our own teachers have been lying to us all this time?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Sighing, I reach for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Just a typical newsprint, but my eyes do linger at the illustration of the noble woman's servant.
Any ideas why they're keeping this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at my inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. There's still a gap. A huge one. Even with the information we currently have right now, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Ermengarde mansion. Will bringing the letter back fix everything? Fuck. How do I? The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. After what he did to Zach, not gonna happen. Over my dead body. One thing's very clear. After these last 2 days, however, we're not safe anywhere. I have to act fast if I want to keep my friends alive. I can't keep running away. Sooner or later she'll get us. She almost did with Isabella. Damn it, I hope Zach's okay where they're keeping him. There are guards stationed at the holding cells 24/7, but you can't be sure. This is a ghost we're up against. Before anything happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this far too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all be burnt out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in Rebecca's eyes when she looks up at me, waiting.
We've been at this for hours. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy grates the... Oh yeah, this is the creepy. Let's see if we can fast forward this. Nope, we cannot. The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as if something heavy grating sounds on the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rendering through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, Rebecca's on her feet while I quickly palm for my gun at the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the two of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. She wastes no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. But before she can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly, suddenly the lights go out, and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles as if somebody inside makes a Cautiously, eyes move forward to it. I take a step forward and I release the lock from my gun. I know trigger happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on the ghost. Right now, it's surfacing against my palm, with the trigger finger on my finger provides a listening energy relief.
I have everything. We should just.
Worried as she is, she immediately stops at the slight raise of my hand. The edge there is while she huddles in the space between the door and the in case this goes south, whatever I find inside, she has enough time and space to find my position. In 2 deep breaths, I cross the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging on the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. Glance at Rebecca. A nod. Something creaks. Then in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles, swinging the doors wide open to reveal nothing. Right away, I part the clothes, hanging on it, and still nothing. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of who's ever inside. Confused, I glance back towards Rebecca, only to see her mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go, Becca. We need to... Ah!
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold touches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my... what did I miss? Oh yeah, okay. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor with a force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision. And then... cold tentacles twisting around my ankles. The smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I heard, reaches my ears and my eyes. Perhaps it was just an experience, or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on her slackens. In the manner her gaze pours on me, saying, look of utter hatred and malice in me. Oh boy, I love it when things get creepy. It's my favorite. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught, this is the face of someone you can no longer reason. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me toward her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
Yes, we have seen this before, but it won't let me skip it. I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind, instincts loosen, and then
Becca, out! Get out! Get out of here!
with one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills with her kiss. In the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing for Rebecca's arm and leading her out. To the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time pulling the gas pedal the second she closes the door behind her. In a short while, I'm driving us out of Salem Mall. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. A dreary downpour starts off the Monday. Not necessarily a bad end. The sound of her footsteps reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, When I glance up, I find her. Rebecca, just as she enters the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Salem Mall, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this. But panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like we've gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second. Or it's a fitful one. But looking at her right now from afar, it's easy to mistake her for someone who's simply out on an early morning stroll. Her steps are careful and slow as she walks, the expression on her face relaxed if not unfazed. Her treads fill the atmosphere with a light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life and death situation the way she acts. Easy to forget one of us is still fighting for her life, desperately holding onto it because she can be quite stubborn like that. Or one of us is being framed for a crime he likely didn't commit. If anything, it's only her appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under her eyes, an exhausted curve in her shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer she gets, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. She passes an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it, and hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on a bench nearby. The scent of warm food immediately lost in the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought, and I dig in without waiting for her to start. Although she appears to be of the same mind too, and soon enough, she also starts with his. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we both are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking and weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. It's one thing Zach will likely remind me of. Isabella would never let me hear the end of it either, if she were here. Though perhaps it is for the better she isn't here to see us. Knowing her, she'll worry despite what goes unsaid between us. In a matter of minutes we're done, and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin, along with it is a shift in the mood. Back to Dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance, always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us absent and the other stuck in a jail cell, the world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, sorry, I had to sneeze. It's another thing I want to look forward to, if we ever free ourselves from this damn curse. I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
Where do we go from here, Ash?
It's an innocent question at best. But it looks to me, she looks to me, as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game, and I'm still sure of everything. Now, there's just uncertainty, sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. A not so pleasant kind of fire.
We can't stay here. We'd be sitting ducks if we remain in one place.
All right, so we just keep running like this?
We don't have much of a choice, Becca. Even our own homes aren't safe. Anytime that woman, that thing might get us. Fuck. A zombie apocalypse would be better than this.
It still doesn't change anything. You just said it. Nowhere's safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Ash. Not to a stupid chain letter someone was too gullible to pick up and show everyone.
Don't you think it's a bit too late to start laying the blame on someone else? It's not even helping at this point.
Who said anything about blaming anyone? Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well? Isabella warned all of us. In the first place, we wouldn't even be having this problem if you'd only...
What do you want to hear from me then? If what happened last night didn't tell you how bad...
Will you get yourself together?
I don't even know what I'm fucking doing, Rebecca! Zach's in jail. Some scumbag is holding my best friend responsible for a crime he didn't commit. And no matter how many times I apologize to her, we don't even know if Isabella will come back to us. You want me to admit it? Fine. This whole mess is tearing me apart. We should have listened. Fuck, I should have listened. But I just stood there, just judging her, and I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do right now.
We both falter to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at her, to add to that kindling. Not in a moment when anytime, anywhere, she, that damn ghost, might get to one of us. We're both in the same boat, and here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little, we're falling apart, caving to the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one, right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. I can't even believe the next word coming out of my own mouth. That out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to her. This is more her forte than mine. Keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have turned, just after one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
I swear, I'll get us out of this mess. But if we want to make it out of this in one piece, we're gonna have to calm down first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling in me. I'm not even sure what or who I'm angry at. The ghost? At her sudden outburst? Or maybe at myself for being this useless? Because despite her not saying anything, I know, goddammit! She's still counting on me. In spite of my failures, or every harsh word I've uttered, or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks and she follows me and gets in the car. It's in the concerned glances she shoots my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in her silence. A heavy gift, her unwavering trust. Yet it's the one I'm more than willing to carry, even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep her safe. In this city of 68,000 strangers, she's the only one I have left. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at that ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Wait, we didn't go to the bar when Ashton was alone, did we? Yeah, do you remember what happened after he was at the park? Yeah, I don't either. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears, and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's the very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe. Or as safe as it can be with G's security watching the place. Makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G or G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges, but sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter. But he belongs to the good folk of this city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well. Surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor, cares to some extent for the people he likely only sees once or twice a week, or on a bad day. Not the best job in the world, in my opinion. But that's exactly it. In wine there is truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue and forces one to let his or her guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant, too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time, it's me, opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I'm met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, and I don't even need to say anything. The next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself drifting towards his station hours later, after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, like prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a rock's glass sitting closest to my elbow. Turning it absent-mindedly in my palm just to keep my hands occupied, while my brain's busy, still trying to make sense of everything. Even at a dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made a trip or sat here on the same spot, just talking to the old man. It's today. Oh, I haven't actually gone through the journal. Oh, okay. So we should find out soon that Zach's dead. I've never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet oddly, it's the nasty odor of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time. Along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that through my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth is curved up in a tight frown that he has questions, a bucket load of it, he wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work. Rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat. Going through the motions with such familiarity it's almost a trance. watching his precise movements quietly like this. With these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? I know for a fact that Hana Wright's death isn't Zach's doing. She also fell victim and died to the curse. It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility that Luke Wright's under it too. I might not have much time left if so. Damn it, I've been so biased, not even thinking that the bastard might also be a victim. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and... Fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it, if not earlier. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away. If there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there. Where all of this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here. There's someone else. What happened to us? I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them. Or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter. The woman. The mansion. And now, there are voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head. Murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
It's because you didn't listen.
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. At some point, they all begin to blur together, twinning and coiling, every horrid image in the memory of her, seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
You're doing good there, boy.
His hand is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. There's relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. Yeah, that's right, I forgot the police chief also voices the bartender. They also look the same, too. Just one has a mustache and one has a 5 o'clock. Right? Maybe the chief inspector is moonlighting as the bartender. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people, after all. Even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the time I spend in the force, there's only one other person who's as keen as this old guy. The chief. Funny and weird to some degree. I've pointed it out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I've never brought it up again after the third time out of respect for the guy. Whatever it is, it's clear something he doesn't want to talk about. Okay, so it's either the same guy or they're related, because that's weirdly suspicious. Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glare down pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face still a clear picture in my head.
I heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since they closed that case. The one from 10 years ago with your professor friend.
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really, I can use some right now. Something to numb the senses. But when has that helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslem?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
A beat passes. For a long moment, G stands there, unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping prior back to the rack on his left. All while he stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago, I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in? The idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this? Whatever the case is, for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this'll merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
This must have been what Isabella felt the whole time we made fun of her that day.
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare, where the only way out might be death. And like I've expected, G's reaction to it, an amused laughter. It booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence. Like I've just told him a particular funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even muster the energy for a scowl or glare. Nothing but a taste of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, all right. Good luck with that. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head and lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half of the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind, used for shots, and stemmed ones for the cocktails. Despite being busy with his task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking as if I'm simply another customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that. It's the wistful expression on him says anything.
Man, can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be.
No, I don't think so. You trying to drink your worries away? Like last time? That was screwed up. This one? Screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stop calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at its heels. From both of us, as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful, but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. Though before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away to begin his work on the silverwares. He'll need those too, once more of his patron comes in for lunch. Slow and easy. A sharp contrast to the strained air we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but one I allow myself to relish, if only because its absence lately. The way things are now, this is almost a gift. So when it all ends with the sound of my phone ringing, a sigh is all that leaves me. I placed the damn thing on low volume last night, but it does nothing to keep it quiet. I don't even know if I want to answer it right now. It has brought me nothing but one bad news after another. Thinking back about it only makes me want to chuck it into the closest trash bin I can find. Oh, that's right, this conversation happens at the park, and he's by himself. Not that it'll help things, of course. Another Excel slips past my lips before I can pull it out, and quickly cycling over the screen without checking the caller ID. After all, the one person who will worry or fret over how awful I might sound right now is here with me. My parents never call at this hour, so chances are it's probably the Chief or Abigail. There's Zach, but he's in a position where contacting me is impossible, placed in jail by some scumbag for a crime he likely didn't commit. No use pretending what I'm not when it's anything but.
Inspector Frey speaking.
Good morning, sir. Sorry to bother you this early.
What is this about?
It's about your friend, you know? The guy I called you about yesterday, the one they brought in the night before. Zachary Steele.
His hesitant note does nothing to diminish the lump that has suddenly lodged itself at the base of my throat. What are the chances? What are the chances that something went wrong while I'm not looking? While I'm out here brooding, of all things?
How is he? Is he doing okay?
We actually have a problem, Detective Inspector.
Hasty assumptions aren't usually a fare in my book. That shouldn't change right now. The precinct is secure. It's supposed to be. They have guards manning the station 24/7. If anything happens, all Zach has to do is shout and someone will be there for him. Even if it's a phantom going after him, he should be safe there. He should have been. Yet none of these reassurances will allay my suspicions, and whatever little thread of hurt I'm hanging on to frays slowly as each second of silence passes us by. An expectation so weak, faint, I might as well just let it go and prepare myself for the worst. It's a feeble attempt at optimism I will never get used to. This is out of my depth. This isn't my forte. Zach's maybe. Rebecca's too. Never mind. Hell, this is the kind of mood Isabella has always annoyingly brought with her. What her eyes often conveyed, and what I found myself searching in her whenever I looked to them. But no matter how many times I repeat any words of comfort or calming images inside my head, the hollow chill at the base of my stomach refuses to ease. Even my voice shakes when I urge Officer Rents to speak again, weak and unsteady. The only thing keeping me from stumbling when I abruptly stand is the counter's solid support beside me, the flat of my hand braced against it for leverage.
Officer Renz. Renz, right? What happened? You're supposed to keep an eye on him, yeah? It's protocol.
Your friend, sir, he's... I think it'd be better if you just saw it yourself, sir. This isn't something you should be hearing over the phone. Chief Inspector Lee wants you to report in as well. It's about the case Luke Wright filed yesterday and...
The rest never registers. Rather, my brain refuses to acknowledge any of it, not even the possibility that this might be a terrible joke. All I can think of is the suffocating dread, the piercing noise, white and deafening, ringing in my ears despite the bar's morning hush. There is only Zach. Only the whole expanse of Luxborn separating me from the one person I'd still be safe from this whole fucked up situation we found ourselves in. Along with the voices, vile ones, whispers that taunt, jeer, and mock. Each vague utterance growing relentless as I make my way out of the bar without another word to G and slide back into my car. Driving off with my own body on autopilot, mind in a daze and afraid. Utterly afraid that this time I have permanently lost someone in my life. The whole precinct is an uproar. Okay, let's see if we can fast forward this. Nope, I can't. Officers move in and out from the main work hall with rapid steps. Phones blare loudly from the comms, and calls are being made from the dispatch area. The rest, who has been left standing, watch the whole commotion with a nervous energy. From further back, the chief's voice booms above the uproar, and I'm not even shocked. He may appear like a bumbling fool on first glance, but he has kept the city safe for years. For something to have happened in his jurisdiction, and inside his own precinct, right under his nose, he has the right to be royally pissed.
What do you mean you don't know? Don't give me that shite, Sergeant! How can one person, slip past you? You can't even keep an eye on one man!
His statement gives me pause. Am I wrong? Did Zach escape somehow? I'm not condoning it. Neither do I believe Zach's capable of doing it, let alone thinking of it. But if it's what happened, I'll be equally as cross as the chief. This won't help his case. This will only complicate things with the right and put the both of us in a tight spot. I won't be able to help him once the red tape prevents me from doing so. Yet a hint of relief still washes over me as I walk closer to my boss, mentally preparing myself for whatever reprimand he's about to dish out.
What's happening, Chief?
Except he merely glances at me with an inscrutable expression. Although if I'm going to read deeper into it, I'll say it's the closest expression he can get to shooting me a pitying look. For the first time in my years in the Force, I find myself wishing to hear a reprimand from him. Whatever that stare means, it can't be good. Coupled with Officer Renz's tone this morning, it does nothing to calm the uneasy feeling in me. Fuck, boss even seems relieved to see me. After the last few exchanges we've had these past 2 weeks, you'll think the man doesn't want to see me right now.
About time you got in here.
I got caught up in something. Sorry, Chief. What's going on? Is there a problem with Zach?
He hesitates for a second before his frown eases with a long, dragged-out exhale.
I'm not sure if you can call this a problem, Frey, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Follow me. And you! I want your full report about this by the end of the day. It better be good or you are kissing that badge goodbye.
The officer is addressing the sergeant, a man in his late 20s to 30s who transferred here last year, shrinks back in his chair. I don't quite remember his name. I've only seen him quite a number of times since I'm often out of the precinct. But if my memory serves me right, he's the guy currently assigned to the late night shift, at least until the end of this month. Depending on how bad this is, he'll either be given a verbal warning, a suspension, or a dismissal. It's not a position I envy him for being in right now. Although there's really not much time left to feel sorry for him either. As soon as Chief's done roasting the other officers behind the guy, he gestures for me to follow. Straight towards the precinct's holding cells. Oh god. And if it's a switch has been turned off, the moment he steps away from the small crowd, the entire main lobby is silent. For one reason or another, it feels like everyone's simply waiting for the metaphorical hand to fall from the ceiling fast. Nope, I cannot. Even their stairs before we turn to the adjacent hallway exude the same pitiful vibe as the Chief's. All of which I might have easily ignored any other day. People here can be a bunch of gossip mongers. It's only the significant glance Chief throws my way before pushing the door open that stops me. Not that there's even a need to mull it over, because the moment he swings it open, it strikes me. A sharp, dry, metallic scent. I've already grown familiar of it over the years. It's another one of those things you'll have to get used to once they started handling you the homicide case. Not just a whiff of it tells for me enough to gauge the severity of the situation. This isn't the festering smell you get when someone in the room has a flesh wound. It lingers far too much in the air. Hangs far too heavily even where I stand. No. This is what you get when someone has spilled blood all over the room. This is what you get when there's a large pool of it. This is what you get when no one bothers with cleanup after a few hours because forensic work isn't done yet. This is what you get when there's most certainly a dead body somewhere. I don't want to think of the who yet. There's simply too many possibilities. Too many variables unaccounted for to form a single conclusion. However, when the chief of Luxform Police refuses to provide answers, a chill easily fills every nerve in my body. Almost in a trance, I follow after him without asking anything, or saying another word for the first time in years. I feel like a damn rookie again. Fresh out of training, newly instated, and still on my first homicide case, except I didn't balk at the idea of seeing a dead body then. Now, as light flashes fleeting from the far end of the hallway, while CSI documents the scene and forensics team gather evidence, the only thing my instinct tells me is to run. As far from here as possible, As if I don't have 10 years of detective work under my belt. It echoes in my head like a mantra.
It's because you didn't listen. It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
Over and over and over, rising and ebbing, a tidal wave of thoughts and murmurs surging and crashing against my ear. More deafening than the drum of my heartbeats and shallow gasps. Churning and heaving till the cell finally comes into view, and I'm afforded a clear look of what's inside. Oh my god, the whole world stands still. Nope, I can't fast forward it. Great, so we have to stare at his dead body with his missing eyeballs. Oh god. In a single moment, every noise, every smell, and every person in the room all ceases to matter. The second my eyes lay on his prone form, there's only red. Red. Red, red. Blood everywhere on the floor with a copious amount of it has pooled on the walls. Smeared on every crack and tile his hands can reach. Right? Yeah, see, it won't let me skip it.
The custodial officer found
shit,
him when
it
they
did,
brought him
okay.
breakfast. It was too late.
Oh yeah, it didn't let me skip it.
He was already dead by that time. Some 3 to 4 hours, according to the blokes from forensics.
There had been a struggle based on the smear pattern left on the bars and floor, but only so much as this small cell will allow him. I can already imagine how it went down. He was likely left with no other choice, cornered like an animal at the mercy of his killer. In this cell, there would have been no escape. The only thing he would have been able to do is shout for help. Perhaps the same plea written on the floor closest to him. Help me. Help me. Help me! Help that he didn't even get. And it calls for a whole lot of question, not the hows. Logic has already flown out the window from the start. Yeah, it won't let me, skip it. I'm guessing it's because this is a new branch, even though we've already seen all this before when he was by himself. Yeah, I think because Rebecca's alive, it's still considered new, so it won't let us skip it for some reason. She has the means to get us out. Get to all of us, bars and walls notwithstanding. That's why.
No one heard him? Not even one from the guys on duty last night?
Because Zach's not an idiot. He would have asked for help. He would have yelled.
Oh, one of them did, but thought nothing of it.
Every time I hear that, it just makes me so mad. He was crying for help, and nobody bothered to help him. Like, how fucked up is that? This is why the police suck.
Then why didn't they do anything? He's just a room away!
They must have assumed your friend's just asking for attention. Henry wasn't clear on the details when I questioned him about it. You've been serving in this precinct for more than a decade, though.
Poor Zach.
You should be aware by now how rowdy the folks we detain here can become. But that's not the only problem we have here. Someone got in and out of this place without anyone noticing. Even the surveillance footage is a bust.
Yeah, it's because it's the ghost lady.
Tech's going over it now, but I don't think we'll get anything from it. It's the same problem with that girl's case. The one who got involved in an accident over at the 13th Avenue almost a week ago. The media will have a field day when they learn of this, Frey. Keep it mum for now. I'll let you know because he's your... well, you deserve to know. The poor bloke's your friend, after all. I just don't want the Commissioner hearing of this before I can tell him anything. Or at least, until we've figured out how the butcher got in.
You think this is an inside job?
What else can it be? It's either that or we have a damn good criminal mastermind walking this city.
Really, I want to say something. I want to tell him that this isn't what he's thinking. That all this time the Ansem Butcher never existed. This is a curse the people of this city have been laughing up for centuries. The way things are going, we'll simply find ourselves at a dead end. Chances are, they'll just have to find an innocent chap to blame for everything, like what Wright did to Zack. A scapegoat for the things they can't explain. But how am I supposed to tell anyone, let alone get them to believe my words? I'll sound like an idiot. They'll likely brush me off the same way I've done with Isabella's warnings. In the end, clenching my fists at my side, gritting my teeth is all I'm able to do. Zack's lifeless face stares back at me, an accusation in them, sharp and searing. An expression that etches itself deep within my mind, once the first officer raises his bolt at his feet. Another ghastly image I'll never be able to forget. Just like Isabella's mangled body that night, barely breathing, still desperately clinging on to life. Another memory that will probably haunt me until my last dying breath. Another regret. Chief dismisses me barely an hour later, sending me off with nothing but a light pat and another sorry expression. I'm not entirely sure if that's supposed to be reassuring. There's plenty more to do. A lot of people to call and tell, and all of it falls on me. Oh, can we skip this? Oh, no, we cannot. No matter how awful the news I will bring, it'll be better if this comes from a person his family and friends know. Still, my body refuses any notion of movement. The thought of telling Rebecca about this, it will upset her. I don't even want to imagine what his grandparents will say. They're good, kind, warm-hearted people who have given me another family even without me asking for it. They welcomed me, invited me every time, easily reprimanded me of what having a whole home feels like. I thought I've already forgotten it. Zack's older sister will definitely show up in my apartment though, ring my doorbell and punch me as soon as I open the door, just like last time. She's right. I'm the kind of person who brings nothing but trouble. She's known all along that Zack should have stopped hanging out with me, warned him several times. Zack has often laughed off her concerns. I used to think it's because he enjoys friendship as much as I do, despite a huge part of it going unspoken between us throughout the years. Now he's dead. I thought I had more time. I thought he'd be safe. I acted too late. And in the deafening silence of my car, the only thing I'm able to do is close my eyes, rest my forehead against the cold surface of the steering wheel, and scream. Scream until my throat bleeds raw. Scream until my lungs burn. Scream until all that remains are guilt and the tears. The sun hangs lower when I drive back to the pub and drag myself inside, still too unsure how to break the news. Oh, that's right, because after he gets into his car, he gets the phone call. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on a weak start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of hangover. After all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. The kind of danger we're in, and after what happened to Zach, this swiftly puts me on edge, even before I can fully press and analyze the scene in front of me.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it, despite his casual opening movements. Only after he finished wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you, might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Another question forms in my head along with the small confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, he gestures his head on the far side of the pub's main lounge. In a corner, Rebecca paces in deep thought with a scowl on her face. From the looks of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement. In fact, I think she might hit the next person who tests her temper. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it, in spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible. There's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes, as it occasionally flickers over Rebecca. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Rebecca's mood can be quite volatile. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, no people in sullen moods, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing. Go fix it before it turns into something chaotic.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already in that state, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're in the same boat. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving. Doing something, thinking whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for the people he barely even knows. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm. The area of the pub she's in is almost deserted. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that the people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's crossed. Whatever pissed her off this time, the way she's glaring at the wall already says everything. Before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca soon slumps on the chair. Gingerly, she reaches up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. She only looks like this when stress has drained both her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do despite being no stranger to it. In the quietness of the room, I find myself drifting towards her and taking the empty seat next to her. Surely she leans her shoulders to mine like she used to all those years ago. Back when all that mattered to us were grades and what kind of trouble we'll get into the next weekend. No curse, no letter, no ghosts. Just us, and whenever our imagination will take us.
How are you holding up?
Barely, but I'll be fine. It's probably just this curse thing getting to me.
That bad, huh?
She makes a face, having been caught in her lie before allowing a small smile to replace it.
Excuse me, you're stuck in this nightmare too.
At least you're not shouting at anyone. That's something you don't see every day. I think you scared G for a bit there.
I just can't wait for this whole thing to be over. That way we can go back to how everything used to be.
You know that's impossible.
A truth. And we both falter into silence in the face of it. Her mouth opens briefly, and I assume she's about to argue her opinion. Maybe say something contrary to it? But eventually she simply nods, breathes out, and relaxes her rigid posture. A rare occurrence when she almost always has something on her mind. Seeing it, a smile spreads across my face, knowing perhaps a little pleased. It's one thing to know of change. Watching it play out in front of me is an entirely different matter. In that one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years, we will never be the same person we once were. And perhaps it's for the better. Rebecca notices soon enough, like she always did. Whatever she sees in my face startles her, causing her to jerk away.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Nothing. Don't mind me.
I know that look, Ashton Frey. That's definitely not a nothing. You wouldn't be wearing that expression if you didn't have something on your mind.
Really? It's nothing. It's just that when we were kids, you weren't really the kind of person who spoke her mind. Someone else always had to stand up for you. You've changed a lot, Becca.
What did you expect? It's been, what, 17, 18 years?
What I'm trying to say is, I think I like this version of you more.
A beat.
Except when you're mad, and you're yelling, and you're glaring daggers at everyone. You're pretty scary, you know.
Well, don't say that so casually. Also, if you're just going to complain, we might as well just end this talk right now.
See what I mean? Even Z-Man's scared of you. I'd bet my entire salary on it.
She swats at my arm, the gesture light and familiar. It causes us both to burst into peals of laughter afterwards. When was the last time we shared something like this? I can't even remember. It's nice, though. To have another conversation like this, to sit side by side simply by enjoying each other's company. I'm not very fond of looking back to the past. Most of it means having to remember unpleasant things for me. But sometimes coiled around the bad, there are good ones. And Rebecca's there for most of it. Things may change, but her friendship is the one thing I will hold dear. We may meet new people throughout our lives, but that doesn't mean I will care for her any less. Which makes this whole business with the leather even more urgent. I still have one lead. So much is at stake. I can't let this curse take another one. If such a thing even makes sense when dealing with the supernatural. Tonight, by any means, I need to go back to that accursed place. alone, because who knows what we might find in there. Whether she agrees with this plan is inconsequential. With Zach gone and Isabella still in a coma, her well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag her in there with me. My apprehension must have been quite obvious in my face. In a sudden motion, Rebecca reaches out and taps my arm. Although she does it gently, it startles me, nevertheless, and it's enough to put a worried look on her. For a moment, she studies my face, eyes scrutinizing and searching. But before I can even avert my gaze, keep her from getting a read on me, she straightens, her worry abruptly fading into a look of disapproval.
You have a plan in mind, don't you?
It's a simple yes or no question. Oh, crap. It's a simple yes or no question. I can easily lie, yet her tone completely belies everything her words mean. I may as well tell her everything. When all is said and done, she's still one of the few people I trust. However, every vein in my body knows she'll be the first one to disagree, put her foot down and stop me. And when she does, who else will be left to fix this? Her? I do understand her concerns, but there are times when they are misplaced, and this complication isn't what I need at the moment. What am I supposed to say? What is she expecting to hear from me? What answer will satisfy her? She certainly appears like she's hoping for more than a yes or no, for an answer I can't give at the moment. Okay, let's see. Save over this one. Let's see what offer a big answer. It does.
Need to head off somewhere tonight.
Oh, good. So I'm going to guess keep her in the dark is not a good answer. A vague answer. It's all I can offer, and hopefully this'll be enough. It's not an outright lie. But that, though, doesn't make me feel any less awful about this. It's worse when you know she's asking only because she's worried. Part of me wants to tell her, admit exactly what I'm planning tonight. But what good will it do, though? I do intend to tell G before leaving tonight. He has to know if he's going to be keeping an eye on her for me. One person is already enough, however. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least, of where I'm headed off to in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. Rebecca doesn't need to know the kind of danger I might be throwing myself in tonight. I don't even want to think what she'll say the second she finds out I'm doing exactly as I told her not to. She should prioritize herself and her own safety before others. But it's never that easy with her, isn't it?
Am I allowed to ask questions this time?
You're asking one right now, aren't you?
It's a serious question, Ashton. Yes or no?
You can, but I can't promise I'll answer them.
That's a nice way of saying no. You might as well just tell me to shut up.
You know I don't mean it like that.
Is there something I can do at least?
For an instant I hesitate, pausing, fumbling for an answer. It's more difficult with her because all this time, she still looks to me as if I'm the same kid from years ago, who she depended on when she has yet to find herself, who she turned to for answers despite my lack of them. It makes me all the more afraid to fuck up this time. And in case I do, she's the last person I want to be with me. Getting her into trouble, getting her killed is not how I want to repay the friendship she has so generously offered up. My friends are not supposed to be the ones taking the repercussions of my mistakes. Those are of my own doing, of my own responsibility. A fear, a heavy weight on my shoulders, they shouldn't be dragged into carrying. However, if there's one thing I can trust her with...
Stay safe.
And then a moment's pause. Hesitation while I try to choose the words to use, while I figure out how to break it to her. Because despite having never grown closer with Zach, unlike with Isabella, he is also a friend to her. He is a loss, all the same, for both of us.
Because Zach won't be with us anymore.
The words won't form. My throat closes up. But I don't need to look at her to know how she's taking this news. There's a sorrow in her, palpable enough as soon as the meaning of what I said sinks in. A pain I can't even hope to understand, one that we'll both deal with in our own ways. In the end, I can only urge her to carry on.
You're good with that kind of stuff.
You don't need to remind me. I can take care of myself well enough.
A grimace is on her face, but I know she'll do it. Even without asking me for it, she cares more than anyone, more than what fiery temper expresses. And it eases something in me. Sure enough, after a stretch of silence, she eventually nods. She does not entirely agree with this. It's in the distant look on her face, but she's willing to trust me on this. For now, that's enough. Either way, it's best that we simply leave things here for now. There's already an understanding, albeit something we both don't agree with. No need to push it further. At the same time, footsteps shuffle from the pub's entrance and cheerful chatter suddenly fills the room as a group of people enters. It's all the distraction I needed. Muttering an excuse and flashing Rebecca a quick smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave her on her own despite the troubled look she shoots me. Before Rebecca can say what's on her mind, before the last frustrated glare she directs my way forces me to change my mind. That's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory, one that spurs the conscious among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Galloway Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight. With the lively music and chatter slipping out, mostly unseen, becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble, soon enough, I find myself standing outside under the chilly Luxbourne night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of an impending rain. It'll give it about an hour or two before it starts. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket. Hugging it, its thick material closer to my body while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. With a brief detour needed, I can't waste time dallying here. If this is all connected, I need that damn piece of paper with me, however ridiculous it sounds. If I remember correctly, it's among the stuff that Rebecca brought the first night at the hospital. I'll find out soon enough. I just hope Isabella's aunt hasn't read or disposed of it yet. It'll be a whole different problem. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does, in the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Rebecca turns just as I near the corners of her mouth, twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for the slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless. Merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up at the starless sky when I come to stand beside her. Another gust of wind blows as she breathes out a sigh, weary, thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away while she hugs her arm closer to herself to keep warm, which raises the question why she's out here. The air's already heavy with the promise of rain. With clouds obscuring the view, there's really nothing left to look at but a dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands here as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word, express a disapproval of any kind, she raises a halting hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you, wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight. I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice, even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? When in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. If this fails, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have. After this, we've nothing else to go from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic, in the light draft sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try. But, you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. To all of us. And it made me realize plenty of things. About myself. About us.
Rebecca trails off. Suddenly, a pensive expression spreads across her face. I've seen it countless of times before. Every time I see it on her, it's usually followed by a memory, a silly story, or even something embarrassing I've said from my childhood. Oh my god. Of course we need to bring up Zach's dead body. In the middle of a love confession. That'll definitely put romance in the air, don't you think? Unlike me, who would much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. After a short bout of silence, when she smiles, I know this is one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time, back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Mandy was in the wrong, of course. I'll defend her. If no one's going to stand up for her, who else will? Chances are, it would have escalated. And who knows, maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is right. I acted because I know what I'm doing is what's right. It's as simple as that. Yet she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this time, I don't want this to go unsaid. You know, just in case something happens. Ash, I've always been in love with you.
Oh snap, a confession! She says it so plainly, holding my gaze and in a voice too frank that her admission stuns me into silence. Like the wind had suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought as the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she has kept to herself all these years. This is what the fondness is. Why, for her, it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary? Since I made that promise to never leave? I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, there is a relief. A weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders. After so long, she closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back to me, there's nothing but hope in them. Eyes that are searching for an answer. Facing the sincerity behind her words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for the words. Because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's been asking from me. Boo! It wasn't high enough. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. Yeah, I would have to replay Rebecca's chapter. And have them fall in love. But that never... what?
You were saying earlier before that you didn't approve of this.
No, I didn't. Because I don't want to reward her obsession, you know? But that never automatically means I'll ever hold for her feelings that go beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she has stuck with me, even through the toughest moments, even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca, I
draw in a breath, ragged and unsure, uncertain how and which words to put together so it will hurt less, so the wounds they might leave won't be as deep or scar. Though before I can even string two phrases together, she lifts a hand to my mouth and silences me. A smile's on her face, kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her. It suits her more than the glares or the frowns. But at the same time, it only serves to baffle me.
You don't have to answer me.
Yeah, but you should... I should...
No, I mean, you don't need to.
Okay, now I'm really confused. One moment you're saying you've been in love with me since secondary, now you're telling me to shut up?
If you want to interpret it like that, all right.
No, really. Some explanation would be nice, Becca. Because a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm afraid I can't catch up. Especially with this curveball you just threw.
It means what it means, Ashton. You don't need to answer me. I don't really need to hear it anymore. It's not that I don't want to. Believe me, if I were the same person I was before this whole thing happened to us, I'd be elated, excited even. But like I said, I also realized some things, understood myself more. Ash, I did love you. Ever since we were kids, all those times you defended me from bullies. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But at the end of the day, once you take a closer look at everything, it also turned me into a really selfish person. When you think about it, maybe the Ashton I loved isn't the one standing in front of me right now. Maybe all this time, I'm still clinging on to that aloof kid I met 17 years ago. I didn't even consider that you have a mind of your own. That one day, it won't just be the two of us. That you'll find someone else then. And it won't be me.
I'm sorry, Becca.
I'm not even sure what I'm apologizing for. That I can't return her feelings? Or because I'm somehow holding myself responsible for this? Even if, up until now, I have no idea how she felt. Ugh. Regardless, she continues to smile through all of it.
It's not your fault. Don't say that. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do. I just thought I should let you know, so I can finally let this whole thing go. One question though. Are you going to tell her when she wakes up?
Tell what to who?
I pause, frowning, a brief moment of doubt while I try to figure out what she's talking about all of a sudden. Dude, you confessed that you had feelings for her when she was unconscious. Don't play dumb. When it finally sinks in through my bewilderment, it hastily gives way to utter embarrassment.
Oh, shit.
Heat abruptly crawls up my face, no matter my efforts to keep it down, and in the end, I can only look away from her, afraid of what else she'll see in it.
Did you really think no one would notice?
Was it that obvious?
It was surprisingly easy to tell, but that was probably because I've known you longer than anyone.
Fuck, who else knows?
I think Zach suspects.
Shit.
You're embarrassingly lame when you're trying too hard. It's almost painful to watch. Don't worry. With your terrible way of flirting and knowing her, I'm quite sure Belle has no idea, even now. Not even a clue.
Harsh, Rebecca. Really harsh. I could use a vote of confidence, you know.
She laughs loud. Your kind that's free of any burden ringing above the wind, slowly picking up as the storm clouds approach. With it, however, the awkward atmosphere lifts at last. There's only the camaraderie we've shared since meeting in that classroom 17 years ago.
I'm serious, though. Tell her, and if you ever make her cry, I'll hit you with every damn history book I have on my shelf. Clear?
Noted, ma'am.
Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you'll be careful, all right?
She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unawares by the gesture for a few moments, I fight for purchase against my car's trunk, bracing my hand on its smooth surface. When I look up with a string of reprimands ready at the tip of my tongue, Rebecca's already halfway through the parking lot. There's a small skip in her step while the breeze carries the light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. It sounds like a new beginning more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. Alright, let me see if I can fast forward this. Yes, I can! Awesome! Oh good, I really don't have to look at her dead body again. Oh, there we go. I have people waiting for me. I really don't want to think about what might happen. Sometimes it's best if I simply revel in the little victories. They're great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this, fraught with unknown dangers, it's a feeling that only lasts but a second. Suddenly a sob, ringing out from some distant part of the house, echoing through its empty halls. Yikes. A creepy lady. Oh snap. The taser clipped to my belt is the next thing I go to the moment I'm down. The sound of it sliding roughly against wooden floor somewhere grates against my ears along with my labored breathing. The next thing I know, a piece of cloth is closing around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls tight. I'm left gasping, choking and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I try to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck. Except any sort of movement only causes him to pull it taut.
My, so many rats scurrying about in this mansion lately.
Writes Butler. Shit.
This, on top of the madam's body missing from the morgue, the bratwurst's in for a real surprise when he wakes up.
What? Hannah Wright? A corpse? Missing? It must have been after I left earlier.
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Dummkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes.
The pain rings and resonates with my already sore body. Still, I managed to ride it out and spit in
You.
Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you, it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear at this point. My lungs feel like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me. and without meaning to,
Ashton Frey!
hearing that voice, it's as if I've been doused with a bucket of ice and cold water. Familiar. Too familiar. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it. She shouldn't be here. She should still be at the hospital, safe. Yet it seems a part of me still hangs on to a sliver of hope that she'll be here. So without sparing it some thorough thought, I snap open my eyes. Of course there's
Did you really think she'd be here?
except for the murmur of voices in my ears, whispering phrases as sharp as blade, each one as scathing as the next. Words that, although I know my own friends won't ever utter, still digs a deep wound seeping into me as if there's simply another truth.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
But repeat a lie often enough is true, they say. And slowly, a part of me is starting to believe it. Damn it.
You are going to die.
Shut up.
I'm surprised you're still awake.
Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my
You
neck.
bastard!
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Then he laughs, too cruel, too unforgiving. The way each note beats against my ears in spite of the warmth in them sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. He won't hesitate.
You are going to die alone.
Panic surges within me. Out of some instinct and desire to survive, I ducked, hard, pulling him forward with me, quickly reaching over my shoulder to grab his arm. Oh shit! Throwing him over my shoulder with as much strength as I can muster. Nice! I got something new. Something whizzes against my ears. The towel on my neck loosens. My head is pounding. In a rush of air, he lands back first on the floor with a heavy slap. Before he can recover or make a grab at me, I'm drawing back my arm and bringing a fist down on his face. There's a moment of silence. Fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But the next second, his grip on me loosens. He's out. And I'm... I collapse on the floor, dazed and grasping for air. From my peripheral, though, through the haze of blood rushing and the sound slowly filtering back, the butler lays still. Knocked unconscious by a man half his side and half breathing.
He'll be out for a while.
I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. But it's done, and slowly every tense muscle in my body eases. A long, gradual process of the tension lifting. For countless seconds, I remain quiet, with only my short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline ebb away and my breathing to slow. Not a true repose by any means, but simply a brief respite. Alright, so when Ash is alone, he gets tortured. But apparently if someone's alive, he's able to fight them off. So I'm guessing only Isabella comes to his rescue then? Because Rebecca didn't come. There's still the curse. I'm still inside the mansion in imminent danger. I still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes, fleetingly somewhere, white and piercing, and the sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. I stir minutes later, once recovered, having regained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable, as is moving. Although every small motion causes a wince, there will be bruising tomorrow and I can manage. Retrieving my gun from under the bed is easy. With only some effort, I'm able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, snapping one end of a handcuff on his wrist while fastening the other to the bed frame. That should keep him restrained for a few hours, while I'm free to get the fuck out of here and do what I've come here for. That isn't to say I'm better. I still feel shaky after what happened. Everything still hurts, but this is a significant improvement from my previous predicament. Without another look back, I closed the room behind me, ignoring the whispers and the desperate cries still ringing in my ears. Power still hasn't come back when I make my way down the stairs. Tricky, considering stairs to the attic are a bit late. One misstep, and anyone might end up slipping and falling. You're lucky if that's all that happens to you.
With the stairs this steep, a broken neck is a likely outcome.
With nothing to guide me through the darkness, I have to feel my way down, carefully listening for each creak and noise, checking each step as I land on before placing a foot on it. Right on cue, the same board I'm stepping on creaks and suddenly breaks, pieces falling somewhere with a dull thump.
Oh shit. Scumbag wouldn't be too happy about that. Ow, my foot.
Outside, the winds have intensified. Even from here, I can hear the gusts battering the window in the attic. It makes you wonder why up until now, the only person I've encountered from this house is the butler. Although to some degree that makes sense, he is in charge of running the place. Where are the other servants, though? In this storm, wouldn't anyone want to stay inside? A likely assumption is they're all asleep. The route I've taken doesn't really pass by the rooms they've likely assigned as the servants' quarters, though they also have heightened security. I brushed it off earlier, thinking they'd be posted a lot closer to where the master's rooms are, but the second floor is devoid of anyone as well. As if every inhabitant of this place has suddenly disappeared overnight. More importantly, where's that scumbag? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The fact that I'm here right now in the fucking middle of it makes me all the more queasy. And that feeling only escalates once I reach the landing and swing the door open. Only to be greeted by the kitchen, pots, pans, and all. There's confusion as I look wildly around the place, wordlessly taking in my surroundings. With each turn and shift, apprehension slowly dawns on me like a bag of bricks. Wasn't that door supposed to open to the hallway? Oh yeah, can I skip this? Nope, I cannot. The pressing matter right now is, in one corner, Rebecca watches, almost as surprised to see me. Relieved as I am, she has had the sense not to venture deeper into the mansion. I can't keep but roll my eyes at her, although she preempts me with a reprimand of her own.
Did you really think you could hide this from me?
I had to, Becca.
You know, if I didn't ask a G, I wouldn't even have any idea. I know I said I won't stop you, but I had no idea this was where you planned on going.
So the first thing you did is go straight here too.
What do you think?
I'm going to guess that she came up through the prison, but she would have also walked by Mary Ann's dead body.
And how did you even get in here?
We both exchange a look. One that I absolutely don't like.
Someone was screaming, Ash. It led me here.
Without warning, the door behind me slammed shut.
We need to get out of here.
Screw right. I need to get her out of here. Luckily, we're in the kitchen. We have two ways out, the back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door, as if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Rebecca also gives it a few tries, but even then it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Oh, that's lovely. Blood. In every nook and cranny, over every surface, and in every inch of the floor. This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually, the whole room begins to reek of that familiar metallic scent, sharp and suffocating. Around us, every object, including the covers, has started to rattle as well. Love that. Sounds from outside, foreboding, rumbling of thunder. Even the howling winds have begun to fade away, replaced by whispers and shouts and cries of pain. Oh, here we go.
She will eventually die because of you.
Uh-oh. Oh, here we go. You finally... Here we go.
You finally figured it out. Huh, Ashton Frey. Just give it up. She will eventually die because of you.
And you are going to die alone.
I'm sorry, his laughter is just so ominous. I hate it.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
The more gruesome the place turns, the bleaker our chances simply get.
Why are you doing this?
Oh.
Just please. Don't you love me?
Or maybe it's all just for show? A taste of what we will eventually be? Our souls forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare?
Mother. I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Okay. Briefly, Rebecca hesitates, mid-climb, looking back at me, raising an eyebrow, asking for some sort of confirmation from me. Right, because the furniture is stacked up in front of a door.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, she follows without any protests. Not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place has calmed me, or has calmed down. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until she's on the other side of this nightmare safe. For all I know, this may be just a calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Rebecca makes it to the other side, and I'm following after her. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains, though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare. Fleeting as it is, but for some, something's still nagging at me. Call it a detective's instinct or my training or whatnot. I have a feeling something's going on or going to happen and catch us unprepared. Unconsciously, before dropping down on the better side of this dream, my hand shifts to the gun at my hip. Instinct has never failed me before. My feet haven't even landed firmly on the door when... Oh, he points the gun at her instead of, yeah. The handgun catches my eye first, next to that smarmy smile on his face while he holds the Rebecca at gunpoint. It's a sight enough to lodge a painful thorn up my throat. I've been too complacent, too focused on other things that I've completely set aside the fact that Scumbag will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those good intentions and curses and ghostly apparitions outside. We're still trespassing in his home. The question is, if he's even aware that the whole of his household has somehow disappeared, and he might be the only one here. Likely not. But even with someone he knows, there's a significant effort in him not to shoot her.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking on Tio, Luke? Is this an evaluation you teachers are so fond of? Is that it? Is this what this is? I'm doing good, by the way. Kylie just paid a visit yesterday. Lots of drawings involved.
Luke, please.
Oh, please what?
Just this once, will you listen to what people are telling you? You need to leave this place as soon as you can.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight.
Don't worry, I always consider pressing lighter charges if it's a woman I have to deal with in court. Can't say the same for Feathers here, though.
But really now? I swear, people need to stop breaking into my house! This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves the handgun at him, as if it's just a mere toy and his words are no threat. The safety's off on his. Nothing's stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture I draw my own and level it at him. Finger on the trigger and ready to release. The safety catch in case things go south. He's quick to train his own on me, though. And just like that, we're at a standstill.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Shooting him right now will be so worth it. With the way he stares at me like I'm a damn pest. But this isn't what I've come here for. I'm not a murderer as much as I loathe him. I'm not the kind who will kill people in cold blood for my own gain or amusement. The law will bring him what he deserves one of these days. At that moment, however, we're all in the same boat with this curse, and he needs to understand that. The longer we stand here, the more we're wasting and losing. Something we don't have much of. But how can I convince him? The scum is so full of himself and prefers to hear the sound of his own voice more than those of the people around him, no matter how much sense they make. Probably the only way I can make him listen is if I beg. No way in hell that's happening. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him? Alright, so we're going to save over this one. Yeah, this one. So we're going to save over that one, and we're going to choose beg. Do we want, first question, do we want him to live or do we want Ashton to die? Like, do we want Rebecca to survive and not Ashton? Or do we want Rebecca and Ashton to survive? Okay, so Mayumi votes for Ashton to live first, so I saved, so okay. So we're going to beg him to listen. My life's not the only one at risk here, however. There's Rebecca. We're all annoying victims to this fucking curse, and I'm in no position to pick who to save and who I should simply let die. I suppose my pride can take a few hits, and I can set aside my beef with this asshole. Taking a deep breath, slowly I lower my pistol. Though still on the edge and at the ready in case he does something, I do my best to assume a less aggressive stance.
This is the third time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game.
Oh wait, Rebecca said something.
Luke, no!
Okay.
Did the NCA send you to apprehend me, or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to beat the business end of this gun.
I keep my eyes trained on him in spite of that huge threat he poses right now. Because if there's anything people like him, like us, prefer, it's honesty. You don't give that impression without keeping solid eye contact.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
Why, you insolent!
His fingers move, but I'm prepared. My hand ready to reach up and disarm him and knock him out. If I have to drag him out of this place unconscious to keep him from suffering the fates of every person who has died from this curse, so be it. However, before either of us can fire a shot or tackle the other to the ground, another voice echoes through the foyer. A small little thing compared to the storm raging outside, it rings above it nevertheless, causing all of us to stop and turn. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands, pale as death, an expression eerily calm. A cold chill runs up my spine at the sight. The woman just lingers there, a poor mimicry of life and a chilling smile on her face. Without a doubt, it's her.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. As if this whole thing can't get any more foobar than it already is. I learned that means fucked up beyond recognition. Oh, sorry, beyond any recognition. Oh, whoops. I forgot to save. Whoopsie. What's that? Okay. Alright, good. While it's fast forwarding, I'm gonna use the restroom. Okay. At least one of us should get some good R&R, because it's not like Harvey isn't going to get any. Especially now that his darling wife has left him. Oh shit, his wife left him? Oh, okay. Did his wife leave him in the other one? I don't remember that happening. I'll be making him busy as punishment for his slacking off and for her disrespect, too. Really, I pity the old man. Maybe I should send him a gift basket? Perhaps more caffeine and smokes to help him along with his bad habits? Before I can leave the precinct, however, a shoulder bumps into mine. I wait for an apology, and I wait.
Excuse me.
Oh, hey, it's that guy. There's a twitch in my eye that I can't hide as I look back at the rude old bastard. I don't remember this happening. Especially not when all he does is look back at me as if this is the first time he's seen me. And if he hadn't just nearly shoved me over with his big lump of a body.
You're excused.
Ooh. The way he says it, the way he looks at me, it leaves me feeling so cold, and I have this gut feeling telling me I should know him. But he doesn't even let me get a word in when he disappears through a door.
A bloody wanker.
Stepping out from the chaos, I let in a breath of fresh air, or as fresh as it's going to get in the city. Huh, that's interesting. We got a new scene. I don't remember the professor showing up at the precinct any other time. Ooh. Fast forward. Right? Well, I think, was it he murdered his wife? Like he set the bakery on fire or something? Oh, God! The eyeballs. Alright, where are we at? Okay, and another peasant managed to break into this house just the other day. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? I'm fairly certain Shrocken wanted to just enlist their help for this power outage only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak. But I doubt that man is an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his families in my hands, after all. He knows what I am capable of doing, and he's not stupid enough to do anything that will endanger them and save only himself. So where, then? Only my footsteps echo along the passage, and I'm left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, and with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me, one after another. Especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Well, it's dark, and the large windows illuminate the area with much more easily than any of the other rooms. From where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out her form and recognize her even. It's all gone crazy when another intruder comes into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. But Daisy? What would Kylie think of her Miss Pink if the poor tyke finds out about this? Top it all off, she has the nerve to look surprised when I announce my presence.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespasser. What is wrong with people of the city? Do they really think I'll be fine with them walking into my home like this? What is she even doing here? If I didn't know any better, she might also be behind Hana's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
She must have a motive.
Make them pay.
It better be a good one.
Wrong they've done to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least she will deserve. I don't make a habit of harming women, of course, but this is just crossing the line.
Let's see. A high school teacher walks into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time, its sounds hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let that stop me as I slowly make my way towards her, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in her eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting. With the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here, I kinda like it, to be honest. Add something to the atmosphere, I suppose. I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to her, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. It's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. The detective from a few days ago, the one Lee mentioned. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? And did he really think it's alright to do that in other people's house? Loud.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My hand's already moving before any rationale can stop me. Fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at Daisy. She's his friend, isn't she? Or maybe a lover? Doesn't matter. I know his kind follows some form of moral standard. He won't let an innocent be harmed, especially if it's someone he cares about. My fingers on the trigger, more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him. But more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's done is futile. He's trapped. A life's in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home, can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing, and the blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up. He's already prey, trapped by his own recklessness.
Pathetic.
And really, Daisy, even you.
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Okay, it won't let us skip it even if we've seen this scene in someone else's chapter.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking on T.O. Luke? Is this an evaluation you teachers are so fond of? Is that it? Is this what this is? I'm doing good, by the way. Kylie just paid a visit yesterday. Lots of drawings involved.
Luke, please.
Oh, please what?
Just this once, will you listen to what people are telling you? You need to leave this place as soon as you can.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I always consider pressing lighter charges if it's a woman I have to deal with in court. Can't say the same for Feathers here, though. But really now. I swear, people need to stop breaking into my house! This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that, I can't just risk it. The thought of having more dead bodies here, it's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight wave of my own. Even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back. So sweet, I can skip this.
This is the third time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game. Did the NCA send you to apprehend me? Or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to beat the business end of this gun.
And he knows it. Of course he does. He's a trained officer, isn't he? But not many bother to be as cautious as him. One glimpse at my handgun safety earlier is all it took for him to see I mean business. Similar. Too similar. We're too alike in so many little ways, it's funny. Down to the fact he doesn't even flinch no matter how heavy the threats in my words are. Even knowing how one flick of my finger on the trigger will be enough to end his sorry life, he should have caved in by now. Started begging like so many others before him. Instead, he throws more vitriol, adds more kindling to a fire already burning.
I'm not with NCA.
Hannah's body shudders and shakes as if she's about to have a seizure, until her visage ripples, changes, golden yellow hair is slowly stained with inky black. Her face melts into that of a woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Along with it, the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling and crawls down the walls and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house, slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Garner the growling of thunder and the lashing of the rain and winds against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. A voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
Please!
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up at each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane! Even Daisy, feisty woman as she is, trembles at the sight of him while Feathers stands protectively in front of her. Brave of him, I have to admit, to put himself in the front line like that, though it doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't feel the same fear as the rest of us. Something I don't pin him for? I feel like they're missing something. There seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away. No! She's here! You've got to let me out! She's gonna kill me! Someone! She's...
Wait. So be it. Mother of God, pray for us sinners. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on with what feels like contempt. Oh, nope. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling. Beckoning. Pleading. I'm terrified. I really am. Like I should be. But I've never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There is no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood you shed. The very same one that now taints this house, along with many others.
I did not do this, you lie! I did nothing!
What of her then? Your wife, your sunshine. Doesn't her blood already stain these halls? Stain your hands?
Damn it, right. I knew you were dirty, but
She's lying!
The words sound so familiar. Just a few days ago, I've spouted the same ones at that vile woman who ruined everything. If it weren't for that munter, that harlot. Oh look, both Rebecca's face also looks horrified. But it's no use. The seed has already been planted in their heads. Defending myself, especially against the likes of them, is pointless. Bloody hell, even Daisy's now looking at me with the same revolting stares people have been giving me once they know of my dirt.
So it's true then? With Hana? Hana, Luke?
I don't know what she's talking about. Are you that gullible, Daisy? Do you really believe the words of a murderer?
No, you deny it. Pointing fingers, aren't we? You see, my love. No difference. No difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes. Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
The monster reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct. Stumbling back one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There's nothing for me here, not anymore. Nothing to keep me tied to this place. With Hana gone, Shrokin likely taken by this woman as well, there's nothing left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave, I can... My foot steps on something, sending me sliding back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one, flutters down. Won't let me skip it. It's this thing. Again, from the open house, though it feels like a gimmick, the more like a threat to what recent events. I'll just skip it, because I already perused
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody curse, I'm taking you all down with me!
calm down, right? The situation's already bad. You're just making it worse.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, for this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened! Hana would still be...
Suddenly, Daisy steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Without batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off at this instant. Said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind to submit even under threat. Right now, all of us appear smaller facing her anger.
Last I checked, we're not the one whose hands have been stained with his wife's own blood!
The gall of these people. Bloody Pleasance. My head's already aching just listening to their attempts to defend themselves. Do they all take me for someone with half a brain? I should have just stabbed them all and made a run for it. It doesn't help that with each passing second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices have also become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking let out. And they may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually they'll turn. Such is the nature of humans. I can't let that happen. Look, I still have so much to do. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I'm going to stay alive. And what else is the source of our problem with that sodding letter? Burning this doesn't seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shit about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. It's an easy decision to make, especially with these cries growing louder. I'm getting tired of it, really. I simply have to act fast, think fast, and what else is the root cause of our problems with this stupid letter? No need to make things more complicated. Start from there. Why would it end there? Let's see if I can fast forward this. Nope. Yay, epilogue! Alright, let's see how it's different. Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxborn's major academic circles, especially after writing what she has discovered about Anselm Village and the Ermengarde Mansion. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she is soon able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local international symposiums. Now, at the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history. A move supported by both colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she still has a long way to go before she can even begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much. She perseveres, doing it not for herself, but for the sake of what she lost after the curse. As fresh as the wounds are still, this is how she remembers. Although not seen as frequently with his friends recently due to work, when Ashton finds the time, he sometimes helps out Rebecca with her research. Mostly just to help her bring research materials. Despite Rebecca's old feelings for the man, they remain good friends to this day. She never brings it up again after the night of her confession. Once is enough. While she still cares for Ashton as a dear friend, it is clear that she has already moved on from her childhood crush, finally accepting it as a part of her life that has already gone by, much like everything that has changed between them. And with this acceptance comes a more selfless person who genuinely cares for her friends beyond any selfish feelings she used to cling to. Looking back at it now, she recognizes that how things played out is certainly for the better. Not only for others, but also for herself. Following his... I think we've seen this one. Following his success in bringing the Luxburn firm case to a close, Ashton Frey receives a recommendation for transfer to Luxburn's lead agency against organized crimes. An endorsement eagerly backed by the newly appointed successor to the late Chief Inspector Lee, Abigail Harris. Oh, Lee died? How did that happen? Knowing he'll have more resources, leeway, and a bigger chance at ultimately bringing Luke Wright to justice, Ashton Frey accepts. He still warns people close to him against Wright and his associate, but only a friendly reminder now, more than anything. Though he does worry, he believes they are wise enough to know what they are doing and trust their judgment. For now, he has decided to leave the evidence and law speak for itself and take care of the man once the proper time comes. Nowadays, police work and operations keep him busy, sometimes taking him away from the city he grew up. The city he grew up in for days on end. A rare thing for him to enjoy once upon a time, yet this time he never loses his drive. Simply growing more determined after finally having found a clear progress close to the rush and the excitement he dreamed of as a child. Although Ashton still keeps mum about the specific details of his work, his experience with the curse has slowly taught him how to open up, especially to those who he knows that genuinely care for him. He still has a long way to go, he knows that, but for the sake of people who are still with him, those who have chosen to stay, as well as what he lost, he hopes that there will come a day when he no longer has to hide behind his own lies. A day when he is no longer afraid of facing the truth in his own words. In spite of a huge change in their lives, Ashton and Rebecca never forget to visit Isabella Santos, bringing little stories that they have no idea if she ever hears, but tells nevertheless, carrying a small prayer that they won't lose her. When they can afford it, they also help her aunt in caring for her. Something the woman appreciates, knowing she can't be there for the sleeping girl every hour of the day. However, though they want to remain optimistic on Isabella's chances, it dwindles with every failed attempt of the doctors to bring her out of coma, and each passing day the girl stays unconscious. Amidst the constant beeping of the machines in her room, optimism is the only thing that they can hold on to.